Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ballers Take Flight. On this episode, we will be going over the 10 things you didn't know about Shaq. Make sure to stay till the end of this video to find out what these things are. If you're new to this channel, or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the most dominant players ever to play in the NBA. In his prime, he was unstoppable and unguardable in the paint. He's also one of the league's most successful players in the business world and one of its most endearing personalities. His body was no doubt naturally gifted, but he had to work hard to become the center he was. Shaq was the first overall pick in the 1992 NBA draft by the Orlando Magic. Before he came to the NBA, he was a star in college. With all the hype that surrounded his draft, there was no doubt he would be that year's first pick. In his first match for the Magic, he took 18 rebounds and made a record for the most rebounds in an NBA debut after Bill Walton in 1974. He finished as a 4-time NBA champion and 15-time NBA All-Star. But this was all on the court. Shaq was, and is, an entertaining figure off the court too. The only thing bigger than the 7-foot 1-inch, 324-pound Shaquille O'Neal during his playing career was his outlandish personality. After a remarkable year tenure on the hardwood, these days, Shaq holds court on TNT's Inside the NBA, bringing his trademark humor to the floor and verbally dunking on his preferred sparring partner, Charles Barkley. But, well, before he hung up his Shaqnosis sneakers in and stepped behind the commentating desk, the larger-than-life basketball legend had created a sizable name for himself as well. But Shaq wasn't destined to be a success. He had to navigate a rough childhood marked by harsh discipline and poverty to become the entrepreneur and household name that he is today. From his childhood and beyond, here are 10 things you didn't know about Shaq. 10. He grew up dirt poor. Shaquille Roshan O'Neal was born to a 17-year-old mother on March 6, 1972. Shaquille means little one, and Roshan means warrior, which would turn out to be a bit ironic, given his eventual size of 7'1". And although his name is Islamic, Shaq's family was Christian. His grandmother insisted on calling him Sean. Shaq was only 7 pounds, 11 ounces when he was born. There was no indication that he would ever be so huge, although his mother is 6'2". Shaq grew up with 2 sisters and a little brother in a poor area of Newark, New Jersey, where drugs and crime were common. The family moved often because they couldn't make rent. His mother kept them fed with noodles and franks and beans. Shaq grew at an alarming rate. At one point, his mother physically fought a bus driver who didn't believe her son was under the age of 5 and therefore couldn't ride for free. She later kept his birth certificate with her. 9. He was a big troublemaker. As a youngster, Shaq would get into fights and break into cars and houses. In return, his father would smack him around. He has said that the truth is, his dad spent a lot of time beating him. He was really scared of his father. His father beat him all the time, but he would never call any of those whippings unjustifiable. Shaq said he deserved it. His father did it to keep him in line. Shaq also said that if he hadn't, he'd probably be in jail right now. Or worse, as what he wrote in his autobiography, Shaq Uncut, My Story. Shaq is talking about his stepfather, Philip Harrison, aka Sarge. His biological father is Joseph Toney, who was barely part of his life. He tried to get Shaq's attention after Shaq became famous by going on the Ricky Lake Show, which didn't endear him to his son. Shaq claimed he stopped getting into fights around the age of 10, where he beat another student so severely that the kid had a seizure. 8. He was 6'4" by age 10. While Sarge's methods were brutal, he was instrumental in building the future NBA superstar. He taught Shaq that it was okay to dominate other kids on the court and use his size to run people over, according to a story in The Undefeated. By age 10, he was 6'4" and winning games for his youth basketball team single-handedly. Sarge was in the military, and so the family frequently moved even more. 7. He has a doctoral degree. Shaq has a great NBA career, but many people do not know that Shaq took his studies seriously. Looking at Shaq, one can't say he is a studious guy, but the case is literally the opposite. Shaq was good in studies during his college days. He was good in the classroom and had the highest grade point average on his freshman year team. Shaq left college early to play in the NBA, but this was not going to stop him from completing his studies. He put in the required work to earn his bachelor's degree. Also, he earned a doctoral degree towards the end of his playing career. These things show how dedicated a person Shaq was, and his NBA career is also proof of that. 6. Shaq's jersey number was inspired by an NBA legend, with a twist. Harrison was responsible for Shaq embracing his size and using it to score under the basket rather than deferring and shying away from his clear physical advantages. By Shaq's teenage years, Harrison had been stationed and moved the family to San Antonio. A now poised and confident player, Shaq led his high school team to a record during his junior and senior seasons. Shaq's attempts to honor Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the trailblazing NBA center, were thwarted. Hence, his famous jersey number 32 was born. When he played at LSU, he was able to nab it, but in his rookie NBA season in Orlando, veteran Terry Catledge refused to give up his jersey, so it was back to 32 for life for Shaq for the remainder of his time with the Magic. 5. Shaq was famously left off the original Dream Team. He was upset about it. While the powers that attempted to choose the best NBA talent possible to represent Team USA and take on the world at the Summer Olympics in Barcelona, they reserved one roster spot for a collegiate star. Shaq was a junior at LSU at the time and fully eligible, but the spot instead went with Christian Laettner, a Duke standout who was thought of as more polished. At the time, the international free throw lane was designed differently, and the committee filling out the roster believed that would cause traditional post-up centers like Shaq to lose their effectiveness. Of course, the young Shaq didn't take it well. He said he was so pissed off, as he recalled years later. He was jealous. But then, he had to come to the realization that he was a more explosive, more powerful player, but Christian Laettner was a little bit more fundamentally sound than he was. Luckily, the snub only motivated him. Team USA took home the gold, and they did it again in Atlanta during the games Shaq was on that team. 4. As Lakers teammates, Shaq and Kobe didn't initially click on court. The most prominent portion of Shaq's career was spent in Hollywood, and his 8 seasons with the Lakers brought 3 NBA championships to the city. But while Shaq's LA years are known for being unfathomably dominant, many people wonder how fruitful they could have been if he and teammate Kobe Bryant hadn't been so incompatible off the court. Bizarrely, the two couldn't sync their play properly from the outset based on talent alone. Long before their famous feud and struggle for credit and control of the locker room began, 2 of their first 3 campaigns together ended in embarrassing playoff sweeps. It wasn't until head coach Phil Jackson arrived prior to the season that anything seemed to click. Once Jackson installed his famous triangle offense, emphasizing perfect spacing and high IQ passing decisions, everything changed with an unstoppable three-peat, highlighted by Shaq's averages in the finals, minutes, points, rebounds per game. 3. The New York Times hated his acting performances. In a cinematic version of Love the Player, Hate the Game, the Times review of Steel praised Shaq's endearing smile and genial personality, but felt compelled to admit he had an almost total lack of charisma and acting skills. The year before, they weren't quite as kind to Kazam, not to be confused with Sinbad's non-existent Shazam. Mr. O'Neill can't hold a flickering lamp to Robin Williams, the paper of record claimed which to be fair. Who can? And bemoaned that he didn't slam dunk the script into the nearest wastebasket. Shaq hasn't done many acting roles since, but he's done plenty of cameos in everything from The Simpsons and The Real House Husbands of Hollywood to The Lego Movie and What Women Want. 2. Shaq once blamed his real-life divorce on his on-court ex, Kobe Bryant. We all learned about it in a freestyle rap. While defending himself against a rape charge, Bryant alleged that Shaq had paid up to millions to various women in order to keep them quiet about his own affairs. This whole situation is ridiculous, Shaq told ESPN at the time. A few years later, however, when Shaq and his wife of nearly 5 years, Shawnee O'Neal, née Nelson, separated in September, he was singing a different tune. Quoth Big Shaqtus in verse, "A horse Kobe ratted him out, that's why he's getting divorced." Shaq and Shawnee, who had 4 kids together during their decade-long relationship, officially ended things. And though there was no word on seven-figure payouts, Shawnee alluded to the breakup of her marriage during an episode of VHS Basketball Wives, which she created and is the executive producer on. "Our Blackberries got switched," she said, of a time she went to an event with their kids in school. 1. Shaq has a major stake in esports. Call him the big controller, Shaq was early to esports as an investor. He, along with Yankees vet Alex Rodriguez and former Philly Jimmy Rollins, got involved in an ownership group that has a stake in NRG Gaming, a prominent organization of esports athletes. Now, Shaq is the general manager of Kingsguard, the Sacramento Kings entrant into the NBA's official K-League, where competitors face off in NBA K, the league's preeminent basketball video game. And in case you need a soundtrack to your gaming, Shaq has re-entered that space as well. He recently teamed with DJ Nightmare and Lil Jon to produce the EDM track Bang, his first new single in years. Well, did you know something about Shaq that you didn't just a few minutes ago? Hey, don't forget to comment below which ballers you would like to see next time on Ballers Take Flight. That is all for the 10 things you didn't know about Shaq. See you in the next video.